There was a time when breakfast wasn't rushed. It didn't come in a paper bag or slide across a drive-through window. It hissed in cast iron, rose slowly in wood-heated ovens, and filled farmhouses with smells strong enough to pull kids from feather beds before sunrise. These were breakfasts built for chores, for long fields, for cold mornings when the frost clung stubbornly to fence posts. Today, we're stepping back into kitchens where nothing was wasted, recipes were rarely written down, and flavor came from patience. Here are 15 vintage country breakfasts that time almost erased. 1. Chocolate gravy. In parts of Appalachia and the Ozarks, chocolate wasn't just dessert, it was breakfast magic. Cocoa, sugar, flour, and milk were whisked together in a cast iron skillet until thick and glossy, then poured generously over split, buttery biscuits. It was rich but simple, made special because cocoa was once a luxury. A pat of butter melted into the warm gravy, turning an ordinary Saturday into something unforgettable. Today, recreating it is as easy as stirring slowly and letting it thicken naturally. No shortcuts, just patience. 2. Red-eye gravy. After frying salty country ham, cooks never wasted the drippings. Instead, they splashed strong black coffee straight into the hot pan. The sizzle created a thin, smoky gravy with a bold bite that soaked deep into biscuits. The trick is using quality ham and letting the coffee reduce slightly, intensifying that savory flavor. It's proof that even leftovers can become legendary with a little creativity. 3. Tomato gravy. Before Jared pasta sauces filled grocery shelves, country kitchens relied on home-canned tomatoes. Baking grease met flour in a skillet, forming a roux before tomatoes were stirred in and simmered into a tangy pink gravy. Spooned over biscuits, it was bright, hearty, and surprisingly comforting. The secret? Letting it cook long enough to mellow the acidity and deepen the flavor. 4. Cornmeal mush. Made the night before, cornmeal simmered with water and salt until thick, then poured into a pan to set. By morning, it was sliced and fried until golden outside and creamy within. The crisp edges were everything. A drizzle of syrup or a side of eggs made it complete. Properly chilling it overnight is the key to getting those perfect slices. 5. Sorghum biscuits. When sugar was scarce, sorghum syrup sweetened the morning. Dark, earthy, and complex, it soaked into hot biscuits layered with butter. Families treated sorghum season like a celebration, pressing cane and storing syrup for the year. Today, a bottle of Real sorghum can still transform a simple biscuit into a memory of harvest time. 6. Cornbread milk. Leftover cornbread never went to waste. Crumbled into a bowl and covered with cold milk or tangy buttermilk, it became a humble but filling breakfast. Sometimes sweetened with honey, sometimes savory with green onions, it adapted to what was on hand. The trick is using day-old cornbread. It holds texture without turning mushy. 7. Buckwheat cakes. These weren't fluffy diner pancakes. Buckwheat cakes were thin, slightly sour from overnight fermentation, and deeply flavorful. The batter rested by the stove, developing complexity by morning. Cooked on a hot griddle, they turned lacy and crisp around the edges. Keeping a starter alive from batch to batch was part of the tradition and part of the pride. 8. Cathead biscuits. Named for their impressive size, these drop biscuits skipped the rolling pin entirely. Large spoonfuls of wet dough hit the baking sheet, forming rugged peaks and valleys perfect for catching gravy. Extra moisture in the dough kept them tender inside. They weren't pretty, but they were powerful. 9. Liver mush. In western mountain towns, pork liver and cornmeal were blended, formed into loaves, sliced, and fried crisp. Served with eggs or tucked inside biscuits, it was bold and deeply savory. Frying it slowly ensures a crisp crust without drying the inside. Love it or not, it fueled generations. 10. Fried bologna. Thick slices of bologna were scored around the edges so they'd lie flat in the skillet. Fried until caramelized, then topped with a runny egg and sandwiched between toast or biscuits, it became a working man's breakfast. The scoring trick is simple, but essential. 11. Fried hominy. Whole kernels of hominy, drained and fried in bacon grease with onions, developed crisp edges and a tender bite. It was hearty and affordable. Letting it sit undisturbed in the pan creates that golden crust that makes the dish shine. 12. Hoe cakes. Simple cornmeal mixed with water and salt, poured thin and fried on a hot griddle. Crispy outside, soft inside. Hoe cakes were everyday sustenance. The secret lies in a properly heated pan. Too cool and they turn dense, too hot and they burn before cooking through. 13. Hot water cornbread. Cornmeal mixed with boiling water formed patties that were fried until crunchy and golden. No milk, no eggs, just ingenuity. The boiling water partially cooks the meal, giving it structure. Fried fresh and eaten hot, they needed nothing more. 14. Fried apples. Thick apple slices simmered in butter, cinnamon, and brown sugar until tender and syrupy. Served alongside biscuits, they were more side dish than dessert. Choosing tart apples keeps the flavor balanced and prevents it from becoming overly sweet. 15. Clabber milk. Before refrigeration, milk left at room temperature thickened naturally into clabber. Tangy and spoonable, it was eaten with cornbread or molasses. It required careful timing and fresh raw milk, an art largely lost today. It reminds us how nothing in those kitchens was wasted. Final thoughts. These breakfasts weren't trendy. They weren't photographed for social media. They were built from what families had, shaped by weather, harvests, and hard work. In every skillet and biscuit pan was a quiet lesson in resourcefulness and care. Maybe you remember one of these from your grandparents' kitchen. Maybe you're hearing about them for the first time. Either way, some traditions are worth bringing back, if only for a Sunday morning when time slows down again. If this journey stirred a memory or taught you something new, like this video and subscribe to American Restored. Because some flavors and some stories deserve to be remembered.